letters that are now available. One of the things we decided to do in making a Spanish language newsletter for Claim Your Youth and Kirby Kangaroo was basically, I can't even say a burgeoning demographic. It is the largest minority group in the nation, a giant consumer base, and most likely a large amount of your membership. So we have that still available. Many of you I know may not have direct knowledge of who is a Spanish speaker or who in your membership you might want to mail it to, the like. So what we typically recommend, as you can see, in branches, at local events if you happen to go, and in schools, because many schools, because we know New Mexico, we know New York, which we know in Florida where there are high populations, it might be best to have it in the branch so that you can have your frontline people let you know if that actually is something your membership would like to take advantage of. The next aspect, technology. Technology is an area that credit unions are often left behind in, but we are introducing electronic resources outside of what's simply on the co-branded website. One thing would be e-quizzes surrounding budgeting for our Claim Your Youth or CYY team, the company most print marketing collateral that we already have. We're trying to move in this vein because although credit unions are said to be left behind, there are not any banks that are giving you the type of technology or resources that will actually meet young members like we're trying to do here. Quarterly meetings, as you know, you're now a member of it, a part of it. Best practices blog, which we will get into a little later once I show you on the site. But what this does, it basically, as it's mentioned, as it's labeled there, it gives you access to what other credit unions are doing in our network here. So with the availability of hundreds of credit unions, marketing people actually thinking about how to use this program, they're typically happy when they find something that works. They contact us, and we put the information out there. All of the credit unions that have already been doing this are very giving, I'll say. So those, if they created a new aspect of the program or just new designed items, we'll put it in the back office for you coming up here soon, so you'll have access to it as well. Just some things that you can have from other credit union members. And that's what this marketing collateral is referring to. So the Kirby Kangaroo program, it's a youth marketing education program designed for children ages 6 to 12 that establishes, as you can see there, kind of just a lifelong bond with the credit union. If you get them hooked young, you basically have them for life. It's just like raising a kid. You may have some wobbly years there when they're in their teens, but they all eventually come back. One of the things about this program, again, is for 6 to 12-year-olds to gain footing in the world of financial literacy and responsibility. For your credit union, it is also a connection into the homes of your members for cross-departmental marketing. That's something that I don't think we've put a large focus on, but it's definitely a big aspect of this program. This is a tool to market your credit union, not just something for the youth. An example I'll give, this is an auto loan ad, say, in one of the newsletters. For example, you have the Kirby Kangaroo newsletter, and this is optional. Some credit unions have done it, some decided not to. In the custom area, you have, well, because on the front you have your main article, you have a secondary article, poll, a joke, and on the back you'll usually have a family activity and a crossword or something of that nature. If you use that custom spot instead for an ad that reads, well, Kirby is so happy that his family was able to get a brand new car with the help from the credit union. You have a picture of a minivan maybe. He says it's so great, it's safer, and all of my soccer friends can even fit inside. You jump down a little later, it says, with rates as low as whatever promotional rate you may be offering on autos, you, being a Kirby Kid parent or a Kirby Cadet parent, will enjoy the benefits of, etc. It's a way to measure how successful your ads are in general. A lot of these parents are going to be used to the newsletter arriving in their home. Most people don't just give mail to their children who are 6, 7, or 8 years old. They're going to open it. It's in there with their statements. They're going to read it with their child, or, well, most likely they're going to read it with their child. Our Kirby parents are very active. A lot of our responses, as you may know, come from the parents, not the Kirby kids themselves. So this is a way that you can use the newsletter to actually do cross-departmental marketing. The next, and again, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to type them in. But the next program is Claim Your Youth. Now, Claim Your Youth is a teen-specific marketing program that's designed for young members age 13 and above. If you've been a member for a while, you know that would typically say 13 to 18. We've pushed that a little further because our official teen ambassadors are getting older, and we enjoy having them write about the college experience from the aspect of loans, unsubsidized, subsidized, the anxiety about them, where to apply, when to apply, things like that. We've had quite a few pieces from Taylon Portillo, who moved on to college, talking about that experience. So we actually have we're kind of edging out that upper category. And this is important to your credit union because these team members, the ones that are on that higher end, are the ones you can directly capitalize on. So again, with using this as a tool to grow the bottom line of your credit union, they are going to be getting car loans, maybe first one on their own. They're going to be getting student loans. In a few years after that, they're going to be refinancing student loans or consolidating them, which is an opportunity. They're going to be getting houses, maybe their second car. This is that period where you can directly capitalize on your Claim Your Youth team. Now, we all hope that the Claim Your Youth team was a Kirby member because, then they're more vested. But if not, we have several aspects that can bring them on board and help foster the interaction, like social media, contests, and Q&A in the newsletter. Some of the contests I'll mention. Locally, we tend to do small local events to kind of see where the buzz is going to go. We put together a competition that lots of different kids came to compete. We had our CEO, some state officials, some U.S. Congresswoman, Michelle Lujan Grisham there. They picked a contestant who won, represented the state. We flew them in conjunction with another credit union who was in Los Angeles, the Claim Your Youth Credit Union. We flew them to Los Angeles. They got to compete for America's Got Talent. We documented it all. It got some press for the credit union in Los Angeles. And it's just something that we were actually able to do to push the teen involvement. Because as you know, if you just talk to them, you just lecture them, it's not really going to sink in. So we do try to have a lot of aspects of fun involved. Some of the other contests we had, create your own credit union. We had that for Kirby and Claim Your Youth. For Claim Your Youth teams, you win $1,000. You just had to submit a presentation about what a teen-driven credit union would be. That girl, she won $1,000. We mailed the check. We notified the credit union so that they could have a little press event around it. Q&A in the newsletter. So move on to that. We typically, we get a lot of response from our teams in our newsletter. I know that a lot of people think print is dying in that way, but when we actually put in a newsletter for Jennifer Lawrence, we had a quote from her about teens. When you're a teen, you don't care about other people. You're just focused on yourself, and you don't realize other people are there until you're an adult, basically. We took teens to send in what they thought about this quote to info@Claim Your Youth. That's something we typically do because all of them have phones in their hands. All they have to do is type their opinion, hit send, and so we get high responses because it's something they're already likely to do. We got a lot of responses. Some of them are going to be in the newsletter here in spring. Almost all of them are going to be posted are going to be posted on the co-branded website. So we do tend to get a lot of response in that way through those means. And social media, we have over 10,000 likes on Facebook. We have thousands of followers across social media and like Twitter, Vine, Instagram. We're not on Snapchat, but we haven't seen a business use for that, so we're not there yet. So the next one is Family Roo for parents and families of the Kirby kids and the CYY teens. Okay, so Family Roo was created to be that next step for your credit unions. Whether you have Kirby, you have Claim Your Youth, or if you have both, Family Roo is really. And what I mean by this is that this is what you can do if you don't like the idea of the ads and the newsletters, like I mentioned. If you don't want that to, no matter how it's designed and how light it might be, if you don't want that to actually be in your newsletter as a way to reach the parents, Family Roo is great, because the parents are already going to be, again, used to these characters coming into their home with the purpose of helping their child, whether it's financial literacy or something to that effect. So what that does kind of helps you generate income, because once a parent or adult is used to the insignia of Kirby and Claim Your Youth, it won't be very difficult to introduce a piece branded similarly for their own benefit, their own specific benefit. And some of the examples I give with this are, we created a brochure because some of our credit unions have Coverdell savings accounts, educational savings accounts. So we decided that that would be a good place to start. So we created the, it's whimsical, all the information is straight from the IRS, so it's actually factual. It ends with telling them to go to their credit union expert for more advice. We always push to the credit unions because we do not sell products to your members. So the piece, many of you may have seen it, it basically just goes over educational savings accounts, the benefit of Coverdell. It endorses that because our credit unions have it. And it's an informational piece that's less intimidating than going to the IRS.gov, and also less intimidating than walking into a branch and letting someone know that you have no idea what this type of savings account is. That's a lot of people's hardest point, letting people know that they don't have the knowledge. So a lot of times this program is about starting the conversation. Now if we move on to the next one, that's the suite of programs we have here. The next thing I'd really like to get into is goals. Now, basically, as you can see, what goals have you set forth from having or participating in a youth marketing program? The bullets you see below are typically the topics that a lot of goals are based around from our credit union. Something around financial literacy, overall community involvement, and brand awareness of your credit union in the community, and youth accounts. Now, it's very important to set these goals. I know if there are some VPs online, you know what I'm saying there. It's very important to set these goals because that's what you're going to be held accountable to. And if there's a bill coming in for, whatever your annual fee happens to be, and you don't actually have any measurable data or any goals that you set forth in the program gets cut, you look bad, we lose a credit union. So what we want to do is try to be as helpful as possible. If you're going to your board, credit unions have called us, we're going to our board, we want to work out a plan here, this is what we're doing in marketing as far as other channels, and we just come together and put something together. That's one aspect of this program that we like to mention, is that you have access to a team here for advice or suggestions. So goals are a big part of it. We'll move on to the first. So financial education. What do you have within your grasp as a member of these programs that can help you with your goals surrounding financial education? Well, there's the Kirby Cadet Workbook, which comes complete with a lesson plan. This is now being piloted It's being piloted in Texas, Maine, and New Mexico. I'll get a little deeper into that as we move through the presentation. But this is it's a workbook that it's for elementary school kids basically. It teaches them about credit unions. It gives you a lesson plan because I assume many of you have not been teachers before if you were to go into the classroom. And it also comes with a few other items. The Kirby Catch and Save app. Again, with technology, we're not actually being left behind here. Again, there aren't any banks where Bank of America doesn't offer your kids an app that will get them, again, into the world of financial responsibility, get them thinking about that. So what this one does, it's a free app. You can download it at the iTunes App Store. It has no in-game purchases, so it's a very safe game. It continues the branding, which is a big reason to promote it at your branch because, again, if you're paying your annual fee for the licensing and branding of Kirby or Clean Your Youth or the like, having the Kirby Catch and Save game right in front of that kid's face every time he grabs his phone or his mother's phone or father's phone or their tablet is great for your credit union because if they're a member of your credit union and Kirby is synonymous with your credit union, then guess what? Now the kid's excited about you because you are Kirby. So that's the main marketing push behind the Kirby Catch and Save app. More for the teens, slide guides and brochures about budgeting and credit, those are the print materials I was mentioning as a companion piece with the e-quizzes. So if you, again, go into the schools and you teach high school students, it's great that there's a link you'd be able to send them, that's what we're going to be working on, so that they can take an e-quiz, but that you can also have something right there that's tactile, that's right in front of them, like our print products will be. Articles from Teen Ambassadors. I mentioned earlier that we do have our official Teen Ambassadors, and they write from that teen perspective about financial matters. These are savvy teens. They didn't all start that way, but they have become more savvy as they have been a part of the program, which is the entire point of the program. So we have those articles from a teen's perspective to teens. We have them on the co-branded websites, but again, if you're a teen and you weren't a Kirby kid, then you're probably not as likely to just go to the co-branded website. That's just how teens work, and I think everyone on the line would understand that. They're not probably going to go through 15 pages on your credit union website to find this website. So what we do offer in that way, we do tweet them out, and we get a lot of our traction with teens. We'll have an article written, it lives on the website, you can go see it, but we tweet the link out, we place it on Facebook where our actual, or we may have an image that is synonymous with the link on Instagram, but that's how we actually reach the teens that we want to have this information, and we get pretty good traction that way. Resources sections for the co-branded sites. There are sections for resources. We keep this on the site because it's big. So there's a financial glossary, there are financial calculators, there are articles on budgeting and credit and the proper use of these things. So these resources are for someone who is looking to expand their knowledge. These are resources that can actually be used, I'd say, throughout high school, probably some of them even a little into college, because I remember some of my early finance classes. So this resource, again, that's a link you can get if you go to your co-branded site and click on the resources tab. You can send that link via email to your team members, maybe if they, whatever kind of marketing push you decide to do. We're trying to make all of this electronic so that you can do that. All right. Any questions about the financial education capabilities? If you do, you can just type them in. So now I want to get back to the Kirby Cadet program and why it's important. As you can see in the picture, there's the workbook, there's the goodie bag that all this comes in, glow-in-the-dark pencil, membership card, lanyard that says Kirby Cadet on it, and if you can see there's a pin attached to the lanyard It's a stainless steel cut pin that they can affix to the lanyard or their shirt, whatever they want to. That's given at the completion of the book. There's also a very nice certificate at the end of the book that says you completed Kirby's Workbook Level 1. It's a 24-page, it's a 24-page workbook, 14-week plan. We assume most of our credit unions go once a week, do about 2 pages. It depends on how you go, but it's a 24-page workbook, complete with activities, math, critical thinking. The very first page can be customized by your credit union, which we'll get more into once it fully rolls out. The second page immediately talks about what is a credit union, because these children in your classrooms are most likely aren't credit union members, and if they are, they aren't fully aware of what it is. So we break it down into terms that they can understand what a credit union is, and it really gets them involved into the spend, save, share model. There's a lesson plan there again, and there's a prospecting letter. The prospecting letter is 2 parts. It's really the strategy behind this. That's for your credit union to read and understand why this is, why we're offering it, how you can use it. You remove a paragraph, and that can be used as a prospecting letter because it explains the strategy, which is trying to educate young members about their financial world that they will be a part of soon enough. So that we typically have had the best luck, our credit unions, with teachers they happen to know, and then the teacher goes to the principal, or if you happen to know a principal, if you don't know either, that's when the prospecting letter comes into place. Or you could ask us, because again, we have quite a few credit unions that are in schools or have 10 to 15 different student-run branches. So there's a wealth of knowledge that you can access by just calling in. You might have read the quote, the class just loved the workbooks, and the teacher had some really nice comments. We all enjoyed the drawings the children did of their credit union. I'm planning on displaying the drawings in our lobby. That was Sylvia Bustos of Zia Credit Union, who's piloting it in New Mexico. So one of the pages says, draw your credit union, and I mentioned one of the pages is certificate. If you hang one of those items in the lobby of your credit union, guess what? Now that kid feels like a part of him or her is in that credit union. So now he puts the drawing on his on the family refrigerator. He has the certificate hung in the credit union. He's going to want to come to the branch. He's going to be excited to ask his parent to bring him by. If not just so they can see that. That's just how kids are. And that if you link this into a rewards-based system with your accounts, so if they set up they come, they see their certificate, maybe you have a little event for them. They sign up, they get these trinkets, these toys, the promotional items, you give them the quarter savers, what have you. That's how you take one plan, which is the financial education piece, link it to maybe another goal of yours, which is youth accounts. So that's the Kirby Cadet program that we'll be rolling out soon. The next one we mentioned, a lot of topics are around community involvement. Now, as you can see with the costumes there, like a little picture, the bottom right is actually Alaska. I think Nevada might be on the line, so thanks, Nevada. And the upper left one, I think, I'm not as sure about that one, but either way, it's the Kirby costume at events in your community. It's the easiest way to make an impact because all the person has to do is walk around and they'll see the Kirby. One thing a credit union actually gave us the idea about is that Kirby typically has a green shirt, and depending on the size of the person inside, and this is why we don't create them, you could get an extra large or 2XL shirt, put it over the costume, and if you want to make it even more local, you just get a green shirt. It can say Kirby on the front, and it can have your credit union logo on the back, or maybe you already have shirts with your credit union logo. There's no reason you can't put that on the Kirby costume to make it even more localized to your credit union. Because, for instance, maybe in your state, there are a few credit unions that have Kirby. A lot of credit unions do. If you want something to stand out a little more. It can be as simple as a shirt. But that's a really good way to get people behind the community movement, having a mascot, because what kids don't like mascots? Social media, ours and yours. So what we do here, well, actually, let me get back to the costume, because there is a from some of our credit unions that mentioned, you know, if you have the costume there and they're at an event, again, they're probably not all credit union members, pass out quarter savers. They're colorful, they're very light, they're easy to place in the pouch, and they are a direct action piece. So once the kid fills it with his quarters, it's only $5 worth you can put in there, what are they going to want to do? They're going to want to bring it to their credit union branch. The branch that had the Kirby costume, the branch that had the colorful item, and that could be a potential sign-up. Because a lot of our young Kirby kids, if they have a piggy bank at home or whatever other way they save money in their house before they come in, they may wait until they have $20 and then go to the credit union, or they wait until they have $50, then go to the credit union because they like to save. If you do something like this, it's full at $5. They're probably more likely to bring it in more quickly than waiting until they have $20 or $50 worth of change or money to bring to your branch. Now, and if you don't have social media, again, we're back to that one. Fear not. We, as I mentioned, have over 10,000 likes on Facebook. We have thousands more spread across Twitter, Instagram, and even Vine. So if you want a little more outreach and you don't have the time or the people to manage it, let us know, and we'll do the best we can for you, because we do have these access tools. All right. Now, and again, you see contests and you see schools, because that's going to be one of the answers for every goal you have. Because if you're in a youth program, the kids are in schools, you know, their entire day, I mean, most of their entire life, so that's going to be a great place to reach them if that's what your goal is. For Family Roo, I'd say the community involvement, as it pertains to what many credit unions have already been doing, they use hospitals that are in their segs, for instance. And they have events there with Family Roo. Some of them had little baby shower events, things like that. Our credit unions get very creative. But use what's in your segs. There are even, if you all have heard of Mommy's Network, we've actually had an article about Mommy's Network in Family Roo a few editions back. They're a group of mothers. They're usually a leader. They commune. You can start a local chapter. But if you just go on their website, you find the local chapter, you can start interacting with them, offering them Family Roo, because it's information for adults about proper saving, proper planning for your future and your child. And then, because they obviously have children, because they're part of Mommy's Network, you can introduce Kirby Kangaroo to them. You can introduce Claim Your Youth at the suite. There are ways to take advantage, basically no matter where you are, with social groups from teens and kids to social groups with adults and parents. And that's what we have put together and what we found as far as most effective in community involvement. But again, we love to hear from our credit unions. If you have any best practices or ideas or tips that you have, feel free to let us know, and we'll spread them to our network. Okay, I see a question here, so I'll go ahead and take that. Just making sure I understand that Little Roo was turned into Family Roo. Yes, it was. Little Roo was always positioned for adults, but when it was rolled out, the Little Roo aspect of it, we have our squish dolls and things like that for the kids, but the Little Roo aspect of information, the websites, the newsletters, are all for adults. So we decided to change the branding so it doesn't seem like Little Kirby Roo was just, Kirby 1.5 basically. So yes, Little Kirby Roo is now Family Roo Financial News. Okay. I see another question. I'll hit this one too. Is the Kirby app available? Is the Kirby app available for Google or Android? Not yet. That is something we're working on. That is an update that we're trying to get achieved here. So stay tuned for that. It's obviously a step we do want to make so that we have full availability of the app. But for the moment, it is currently just on iTunes in the App Store, but still for free. All right, so I'll go to the next slide. Here are some best practices that we included. This is a picture of Miss Becky Erickson's 4th grade class. They participated in a story about Kirby and the Kroc brothers, about saving, sharing, and spending. This isn't a group of, again, credit union members. Well, one of them is, and that's how we got in there. But it's not a group of credit union members. We just went to the teacher. We said, we are about some financial education. We want to try to get this school, this group of kids, if they're willing to, if they'd like to write a story for a custom coloring book about saving and spending and sharing with these fun characters. The teacher was on board. The kids loved it. We gave them a few trinkets. They worked hard, and they got it out ahead of the deadline we set for them. So, and this is a quote from Becky. So she would recommend that any fellow teachers or parents who are reading about financial education talk with a financial provider who can give them guidance. This will help them to give the children the best financial educational experience possible. She's, of course, referring to the credit union people who came there. So you have advocates in these schools. Teachers, again, I'll go back to the workbook. Teachers are buying stuff out of their own pockets. Budgets are slashed all the time, so if you can go to a classroom and offer them something that can help them teach their kids and get them excited about coming to school, you're going to be a superstar. So that's just another example of how that worked. And this one, I think this picture was in an edition of our newsletter as well. The last of the three categories of goals we tend to encounter are account sign-ups. And, you know, sometimes we get calls, where are my account sign-ups? Not typically, but for Kirby Kangaroo and Claim Your Youth, you have promo items. We recommend you set them to a specific milestone. As we mentioned, so you have Kirby. He passes out the quarter savers. The kid brings in the quarter savers, wants to deposit them in the credit union. So now you give them another item to keep them enticed. It's an incentive program that it works for kids, it works for adults, but in this case, as we're talking about Kirby, it just incentivize things. Quite frankly, it's simple, but it works. And because we have a range of products that run the gamut from 40 cents to, you know, a few dollars and over 50 different items, there's something you can get that'll fit your budget. They can keep these kids excited. Referral program. This is, again, the networking. Because just kids, teens, adults, everyone networks. They just do it differently based on their groups and their, you know, resources. The Kirby kids, again, this is incentivizing them. So say that Kirby kid brings in the coin saver, and you give him a certain item. Well, if that kid brings in his friend, or you tell the parent, that kid brings in your friend, you'll get this special item here. They're going to go back to class, especially if you give them something they can take to school, because they can't always take a Kirby doll to school, but they can take glow-in-the-dark pencils, they can take, you know, backpacks, things like that to school. Once they go to school, kids talk, they can get it for free. They're going to refer some of their friends. Now, in teens, you're going to see it a little more in teens because they have a broader social network. They'll go to Twitter, they'll go to Instagram, they'll do whatever they want to try to find information about you. So you should realize they're going to do that same thing to try to get a benefit from you. We had a lot of success with the Starbucks cards. Just $5. Starbucks printed the name right on the card, so it, you know, you don't have to apply a sticker or anything. We put it in the newsletter. If you answer this question, you'll get this $5 Starbucks card. That was in the summer, June, I believe. We were getting responses from that newsletter all the way through September. We got actually 2 in October as well. So it lets us know who's sending their newsletters out first. It lets us know how long these kids may keep around this piece of paper. And it lets us know the general interest level around the question and the incentive given. So for that same thing, the team comes in, because hopefully you have at least one, and if you don't, you can go via mail or email or mail their parent, however you use your marketing channels. Incentivize them. Come in and make a deposit, or bring in one of your friends to make a deposit, and you'll both get this. You'll both get even movie tickets. But you have to stay on trend with what they care about. Movies are nice, but Starbucks is better because that's what the older people do. That's the cool spot to hang out at. It's just knowing your audience a bit there. And if you can incentivize them, you can take advantage of their networks without even having your own Twitter or Facebook or Instagram account. And we can help you out a little bit with that. Just call in. Booths at local events. Again, you're going to see some of these repeat, because if you set up a booth at a local event, you can not work too hard and might end up with one youth account. You can work very hard and get a big impact at the event, maybe sign up a few people, or at least bring yourself, raise your level of awareness in their mind, because many people don't even know what a credit union is or why it's different from a bank, or why they should even care. So being out there makes a big difference. It just does. Now, to piggyback with that, say they see your Kirby costume out, or say they see a banner from Claim Your Youth out somewhere, and they come to your credit union, but they don't see any insignia. Again, people don't like to ask questions because they don't like to feel stupid. So if they saw the Kirby stuff and then they get to your branch and there is no Kirby stuff, they may not be prone to ask many people there, how do I get involved with the Kirby accounts? What is this program? I'd like to join it. There's just a large segment that won't do that. So having something they recognize in your branch is going to complete the circle for them. Parental social networks, I mentioned. You can always go to parenting.com. They do it as well. We have some resources on our site that link to places. Schools, again, and tellers. Tellers are obviously the ones that are front line. They're going to see your member. They're going to interact with that person who wants to sign up. So they're very important in quite a few different ways, and I'm going to get into that one. Next. This is the best practice. Once again, this one is U.S. New Mexico. They had no insignia in their branch, so I thought this was the perfect one to actually have a little market research done. As you can see there, Michael in the red shirt, Veronica telesupervisor in the black shirt. All we did, we put, as you can see, there's the stress ball material, the Kirby Kangaroo, and there are 2 Kroc brothers. We put one at each of their stations. That's it. They didn't have the app on that screen back there. They didn't have any posters. They didn't have any cutouts. Nothing. She said, well, when I talked to both of them, over 90% of the members that walked up to the teller stand either grabbed the item or directly asked them what this is about, starting the conversation. So that allowed, if you look at the third bullet, Michael mentioned that the teller stand item started the conversation, which allowed me to talk about the youth accounts. They actually get, some tellers do, they get a little bit of a perk or commission or what have you if they lead a person to signing up in an account, or lead them to the loan officer and they get a loan, something like that. So for a teller like him, having a little piece of foam core on his desk, not foam core, but foam on his desk, helping him actually sell, whether it's a youth account or whether it's a loan or whether it's anything like that, it's a benefit to him because it helps him with money in his pocket, and it takes down that wall of intimidation. Because if any of you have been in sales or know people in sales, the hardest thing to do is ask for that sale and bring that question up. But when you have something to start the conversation, it's a lot easier. And 90% is a striking number. but that's the research we actually pulled from that credit union over a course of a month. More adults noticed it than children. I think that's primarily because the teller stand is fairly high, and many children, teens could, be at eye level there, but a lot of kids aren't going to be able to reach that. And as you further stratify that segment, most of those adults were older. Now, granted, most credit union members are older on average, but what this says is that not only are there adults coming in that are your average borrowing age, but there are the grandparents, which, again, family rule. If there's a grandparent there, they grab a figure, what's this about? They may not have a child that's their own that could get a youth account, but they may actually have a grandchild that they might want to set an educational savings account up for, or they might want to set a little savings account up for, or they may want to take this little toy to them because they're going to be babysitting them for an hour that day, anything. So what it does is it starts the conversation, maybe have a statement insert ready to give them, maybe have a copy of the newsletter ready to give them, whatever it takes. One credit union actually took the little toy, asked the person what the kid's name was. These things can be written on just with a ballpoint pen. Wrote the name on the bottom of it and said, hey, you give this, it's from Kirby to your kid. I mean, that's a special case. That's a teller that kind of goes above and beyond, but I guarantee you that child who received that and the parent that gave it have a different opinion of that credit union branch after that. So the tellers are very important. And what they can also do, they can give you a lot of information about your members, about how the products you are buying, how they're doing. Because some credit unions will buy a gigantic inventory worth of items, but they're not the people who are also in charge of how well they're doing. Just, are stock levels low? Yes, we'll reorder. These tellers are actually on the front line. They may actually be able to give you more in-depth information. This credit union actually, the marketer meets with them once a week to go over things like this so that they can keep on top of some of these items. Now, again, I go back to frontline staff because a lot of us we're either marketers or we're people at the corporate level, or we're not at a branch, or so we can't be as in touch with our members, many of us. And the dangers that lie there are many. One, and the biggest one, is loss of opportunity. I'll give you a personal anecdote because that's what I can do. I'm from the East Coast, but I'm way over here, close to the West Coast. I told my nephew, he's 13, to go join this credit union that has Claim Your Youth. They have teen accounts. They've had them for a long time. They've been a part of this program for longer than I've worked here. He goes in there, calls me after, says, I went in, I asked about the Claim Your Youth program, and they didn't know what I was talking about. I'm like, well, maybe he didn't ask properly. So I quizzed him a little more, and he said, well, no, they were confused, I was confused, so I left. So fast forward, I go back there for Christmas. Turns out he has a youth account. His sister, who's a year older, has a full account because she's actually, 17, so she has a youth account. They're both connected to my sister's account, and she loves that she can monitor it. She loves that she can monitor what they have, and it's a great, little system. But are they with that credit union? No. They went right across the street to Wells Fargo. They went downtown to the credit union because I asked, but they have a Wells Fargo right across the street. They went there, signed up, and now that's 3 more accounts that Wells Fargo has that credit union doesn't. That and that's kind of the basis of this whole thing. If you're looking for accounts or you have a program that you're paying for, if the front line doesn't know what's going on, and you're paying this money for products, you're paying this money for your annual fee, then you're not going to get really any return on investment, because now that 16 to 17-year-old may be looking for a car, and maybe his mother's going to help him finance it. I specifically know because in this case they're related to me, but that's a loss of a few autos, and in a few years that's a loss of a mortgage loan, because I guarantee she'll go to Wells Fargo before she goes to the credit union that couldn't help her son. So I can't stress enough the potential loss of opportunity by not having the people who actually interact with your members aware of what you're doing with the youth program. The benefits of training your frontline staff, or at least making them aware: higher return on investment, annual fees, promotional items, newsletters. If you're paying money for all of these things but missing opportunity, then you're not getting as high of a return on that investment as you could potentially get. What it also does, which I think is very important, quantifiable and reportable data. I gave you one or two statistics from some market research from one branch of a credit union. If you were to poll all of your tellers at all of your branches, maybe you only have 2, maybe you have 50, you'd actually have reportable data that you can go to the board. You say, well, how well are these youth accounts doing? How well is this program that we're paying X amount of dollars for? How is it doing? Well, if you can say, our tellers told us 90% of the people that came to the teller stand grabbed these items and asked about youth accounts because we spent $500 over the course of a year on these promotional items, that's something that's going to make sense. If you can say, well, we have an increased amount of youth accounts because we did X, Y, and Z, we went to this event, rented the costume, a total cost of $75 for the costume. You get reportable figures there because the tellers are actually going to be able to see it. They can let you know what items won't work, which is why we're not really offering the news, the teller stand flyer, because the teller stand items work more than in just this instance. They work a lot better. So we'll have something you can download if you choose, but we're moving towards where the data tells us the members are reacting. So if they react more to this than teller stand flyer, then what's the point of us pushing teller stand flyers? But again, quantifiable, reportable data will come from your tellers because they can give you figures, especially if you let them know ahead of time. We need to know how these accounts are performing or these items are performing. It's just great to actually have those kind of figures for something like a youth program. Now, the next item I want to get to is important because we do have a fairly new system. Well, it's not but so new, but it's fairly new if you only visit our site quarterly to order newsletters and things like that. Some of the topics: customization, making it local. You have the website front page, promotional fields. I'll show you all of these. Articles from local Kirby kids, CYY teams, and Family Rue adults. This is important because if you want to make your youth program, make it local, make it about your credit union, then the website, you can alter that and make it local for free. The articles, you can have your local kids maybe write an article or submit something, and we'll put it on the website so that when they go to your co-branded page, your logo, your front message, articles from kids from your credit union, and it can be very much yours. Promote section, shop, and renting the costume. So bear with me. So once you log in, this is the screen you see. I'm going to do this fairly brief. So you have over here my profile. What your profile is all the information about you. You can change it, alter it if necessary. If you had any events that we were putting on that you registered for, it will show up here. Your subscriptions, this is where the blog comes into play. Right here you can see it's the Claim Your Youth Culture blog. This is where we're going to be posting both best practices, very pertinent information or new items. We won't be doing it more than once a week, quite frankly, so you can select if you want it immediately, daily digest, weekly digest. Quite frankly, the only differences will be if you do weekly digest, you'll get it at the end of the week. If you do immediately and it goes out on a Wednesday, for instance, you'll get it on that Wednesday. To move on, My Credit Union. This is where you can manage basically everything as it pertains to your credit union. If you are someone where the staff below you handles this program, you may be the one who handles this because you can add and subtract people. Your logo, fairly simple. If you scroll down, your credit union information is customizable, well, editable. Primary contact. This is something we're working on, adding the mail house, so that if you've added the mail house, now it'll populate once you click yes. And I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about when you click yes on do you want to use mail house on the order form. So this is kind of in beta. Use program contacts and the credit union roster. Everyone we have had for your credit union will be listed under credit union roster. You can select any of those to become your youth program primary contact. You just add them here if they aren't already there. Give a second. Yeah, so you'll select your credit union, you'll select employee, and then that'll come up as staff, the next field directly below. So I can do that for you. So you would save that, and then you could actually add them here. And anybody who's on your roster, you can add as the youth program contact. A lot of you call to make that adjustment or send a letter. You can do it yourself right here. We don't mind the calls, though. The next section, customize. So say, for instance, you just uploaded your logo on that last page, but you need to make sure it's there. You go to customize and click on whichever program you have. You can view your customized website immediately. This is the front page item. If you go there, here's the front page item. You can edit that to be what you want. Again, you can have the local field if that's what you would like. Add promotion. You can get the date you want it to post to the web, the date you want it to be removed from the web automatically, the order, because you get 3, and the description of what you want it to say. And that will actually it will show up. Okay, so if you see on the left, you have promotions. Download the Kirby Kangaroo app. We've placed some text there for you. Pay it forward, spend, save, share, whatever you would like to have there is possible. Essentially, and then the next field is promote. This is where there are some Q&A here, or FAQs, I should say, that you can look through at your leisure. But if you click on whichever program you have, you'll see the HTML coding for the logo, so you can add them to your site or send them to your IT guy. If you need JPEGs, we don't have those posted yet, send me an email and I'll do that for you. But it's like this for each of the programs that you happen to be a member of. Kirby Sketch and Save is here because, again, I think you should really push a free app that's from your credit union. So we have the Kirby Catch and Save image there as well. As far as these images go, if it's not on your front page, the likelihood of people going to your website and clicking through to get to the co-branded site decreases. You don't have to have it on your front page if that's not what your credit union chooses, but I'll just let you know from an SEO standpoint, it's going to be your numbers are going to be a lot lower. And if that's a metric you use, consider placement on the front page, or consider placement on various other pages of your credit union site that would pertain to youth program or something of that nature. That is, other than the shop will be the last aspect that I show you on the website. Right here you can see all of the links are still open for the newsletter orders. It closed on the 6th, but I wanted to leave it open a few extra days just in case we had any late orders. You can just click order promotional items or whichever brand. Again, we have them in Spanish. The dates are below, quantities. These will always be posted. And that's essentially, I'll just go to this one as well. If you rent the costume, your information comes up first for you to verify it. If you need it shipped somewhere else to a specific branch, not your main location, when that field comes up first, enter it. Or if you miss it, special instructions field, enter it there. You can view the Kirby rental policy by clicking there. It's what will be emailed to you. It's also going to be in the box, but just in case you want to know and have it on file. And that's essentially the website, how to upload and customize it so you can keep it local. That's really what the grassroots credit union movement is about. That's why you have limited membership. It's about making it local to your community. So use the spots you do have available, edit your content. It takes maybe an hour once you know what you want to say, and you can set it and kind of just forget it. So that's the conclusion of the webinar, our first quarterly meeting. If you have any questions, type them in, and I will try to answer. Oh, I see one here. Will we be able to purchase the PDF link to the team newsletters to add to our website if we don't buy the hard copy? We're actually going through a bit of a transition on that idea. So I'll get back to you personally about that. But the way it's going right now, well, I'll get back to you personally on that one, Denise. But we are, as I mentioned, moving towards electronic, and just making sure we're on trend with accessibility. So there are a lot of features that you're going to start to see electronic. Maybe the newsletter. Okay, I'll make note to give you that as well, Cameron. Okay. Well, look, if those are the only questions, okay, Karen, I'll make note of you as well. Okay. If anyone else wants to raise their hand or get that information, send me an email, give me a call. I know you guys on the webinar are not ones who are afraid to call, so you can go right ahead and pick up the phone. And if there are no more questions, then I will thank you for being a part of this first quarterly users meeting, and we will soon be sending you when the next one is there and all the exciting things that will come as a result of it. Once again, thank you very much. This is Marcus from Claim Your Youth Culture. Have a good day.